In part one of this video series, we talked about some of the biggest frustration EarthCache reviewers deal with, and some practical advice for EarthCache owners. But that wasn't everything. I asked an EarthCache reviewer, a US-based EarthCache reviewer, for his point of view on some topics. And in this video, we're continuing that conversation with even more insights on creating and maintaining an EarthCache. As a reminder, all of these answers come from GeoAware USA 9, or I'll just refer to them as 9 from now on. And if you haven't seen the first video, you might want to start there first. The next topic is being impatient with those geocachers that find your EarthCache. 9 states, from time to time, I think we all get folks who just want to log a find because they were there, don't bother reading the description, and don't make an attempt to answer the questions. But maybe they're on a long trip and just didn't get the answers in right away. Or they had a bad connection and the message center ate their note. Or maybe they're a noob who didn't get the whole EarthCache concept. The response to not having answers in hand when you see a found it log should not be deleting their log, or at least not off the bat. If I do that, they may never bother to try another EarthCache. I have an email folder called EC Finds Without Answers. When I get a lot and don't see answers right away, it goes in the folder. I wait a day or two and then check out their profile. If it's a seasoned cacher with dozens to hundreds of EC finds, then I'll send them a simple reminder. If it's a new cacher, I send them a note. All right, quick edit for length. The note is basically describing what EarthCaches are and that answers are required to be sent in. Back to 9. Whichever note I send, the next step is I wait a couple of weeks. If I get something back that isn't great, but at least an attempt, I'll fill in the gaps. If I never hear back, then it's sorry, no answers equal no find, and I eventually delete their logs. My opinion is going to diverge a bit from the reviewer on this one. Now, I'm an EarthCache owner, and yes, I've had folks not provide answers, and yes, typically the first thing I do is take a look at how many they've found. Someone with experience, they get a similar note of, hey, please send me your answers. If they're new, yes, I'm happy to provide them some education on what EarthCaches are and the fact that they need to send in some answers. Reminder, if you're logging an EarthCache, you're supposed to send in the answers before you log it. Now, will I make an exception for circumstances? Of course. Am I waiting a couple of weeks before I'm deleting your log? I'm not. That just seems like a really long period of time for me. And if you're an owner, I'd love to know how you would handle a situation like this. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Now we're going to go back to developing an EarthCache. 9 writes, EarthCaches involve science, but they don't need a science degree to write, and they shouldn't need a science degree to answer. There are a lot of cool earth science features out there. Many of them can get pretty technical. A good EarthCache is one that can take a complicated topic and explain it to a general audience. Remember, the geocaching headquarters and GSA guidelines are that EarthCaches should normally be written at the high school level and should not assume prior knowledge of geology. We need to keep that in mind and explain, but not dumb down, concepts. In my EarthCache Writing 101 class, I tell folks that of the over 49,000 EarthCaches out there, yes, some have been written by geologists, but the vast majority are not. So don't feel intimidated. You don't need to be a geologist. You simply need some curiosity to find out why the geology you're looking at, why is it like that? Anytime there's a post on Facebook or Reddit that involves EarthCaches, the EarthCache ignorers or evaders come out and they tell everyone how much they dislike them. And that's okay. One thing they dislike is the description and just how lengthy or technical they can get. And at times, they're absolutely correct. In my class, I tell folks, you don't need all sorts of technical information, paragraph after paragraph of it. I think some of the best ones don't have that because it's intimidating and you shouldn't need a PhD to read the info. Do your research. Determine what concepts you need to have in the description, how they fit together, and figure out how to explain it. Oh, and use of AI. While the guidelines now allow it, be very wary of using it for research. If you ask, say, ChatGPT to write you an EarthCache, it's going to write one. It's going to develop one for you. But that does not mean it's going to be good enough to publish. All AI models will hallucinate or provide incorrect information. They'll lie to you. So I strongly recommend you do not rely on them. Do your own research. There are plenty of tools out there, both on and off the internet. Learn how to use those tools. Okay, final advice from 9 is on tasks, a truly important and sometimes despised part of EarthCaches. Back to 9. That takes me to the flip side of this, not being technical enough. Specifically, this means making sure the logging questions are tied to the lesson. I see a lot of great lessons out there that then just sort of peter out when it comes to the logging tasks. What color is this rock? How tall is the cliff? Those aren't really logging tasks if they don't teach me anything. They're just things to do at the location. Prove you were there kind of questions. Now that photos are allowed to prove a cacher was at the site, that's not the way to go. Good logging tasks help reinforce the lesson. Guide cachers to make an observation that connects to your lesson. Then follow up to have them demonstrate the importance of that observation. Something like look at, or smell, taste even, a specific thing. Describe certain aspects. And then based on your observations and the cache description, what does this tell you? Let's go back to the negative comments on Facebook or Reddit or any social media. If the comments aren't about the lesson length, it's about the tasks. Now, I love EarthCaches, but if I see some wacky, crazy tasks, even I'm skipping it. Now, I'm 100% on board with his comments, though. You've got to have logging questions tied to the lesson. And as a reviewer, I'm assuming he'll simply kick them back and ask for a change consistent with the guidelines. End of day, if you're creating an EarthCache with tasks, like he says, reinforce the lesson and ensure some are based on observation and analysis at ground zero. Now, I'm pretty formulaic about how I create the tasks, but I'm interested to find out if you have a particular way of developing them. So let me know in the comments. If this video was helpful and you haven't already, go back and watch part 1 as well. The two together give you a much clearer picture of how reviewers think, or at least how 9 thinks. Overall, he brings up some really great points, and I sincerely appreciate him taking the time to send me his insight for the benefit of us all. This video has actually been a really long time in the making. Reminder, if you're into EarthCaches, I've got an EarthCache bingo game going on throughout 2026. I'll leave the link for that video in the description below. All right, thanks for watching, and if you find these videos are bringing you value, hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, and perhaps share it with a friend that also enjoys EarthCaches. Now, get out there and go find some EarthCaches, or better yet, go make one.